Hi guys, I'm Amanda Joyce,
And I'm Devin Hayes. Welcome to Trade Secrets.
where we reveal what you can be doing today to improve your business through marketing.
Welcome to Trade Secrets, where we demystify digital marketing to help contractors get the most bang for their marketing bucks.
This is for you if you're a contractor looking for actionable marketing insights.
Learn from home services industry experts to elevate your business through simplified marketing strategies.
Let's dive into today's trade secret.
Today, we are going to be talking about continuous scroll on Google. They just rolled it out for desktop let's see here, just last month, beginning of December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it originally rolled out in October of 2021 on mobile, but now they've introduced it in desktop. So it's a total game changer across the board from an SEO and paid media standpoint, honestly.
Yeah. So previously, we're all familiar with a Google results page, and there's, 10 results on page one. And depending on what you're searching, there's some ads, maybe images, videos that kind of pop up at the top, local search results, maps results. But with continuous scroll, instead of just being limited to those 10 organic results, it actually goes down for about 6 pages. And so with that, now you can say you're on page one, but like position 60, but you're still on page one with SEO. And then Amanda, like, you're our paid media guru, you're Google certified. You have been doing this for, I don't know,
longer than I care to admit.
Okay. So we know, especially in the home services space, that Google Ads was getting really expensive with no guarantees, and a lot of agencies, including us, kind of push people toward Google local service ads, right?
Right.
So now that there is so much more ad space on desktop for Google, what do you think like the implications are now rolling into 2023, and how should contractors kind of look at Google Ads now?
How they spend. It's difficult because there's so many different things to keep in mind. One of the things I've been noticing and I've been reading about a lot is that based on quality scores, a lot of times as you're scrolling down, you're going to see the same advertiser repeated. So if Google really likes you, if you've got a high quality score, if you're leaning a whole lot on their AI, meaning you're allowing them to do a lot of your optimization for you, it's where they're pushing all of us. They're going to favor your ads and show you more. So it's just really important to keep in mind that, like it always has been with your ads and your text and everything in them, that you're really, really strategic with every last word you put in that. You want to make sure that you are standing out across the board, that your call to action is really clear, and that what you're offering is that much better than everybody else that's out there in the space. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So I was going to say, so when you talk about calls to action, CTA, our little industry jargon here, what do you think? I would love for you to like give an example of like what's a really like bad call to action, and then versus something that's good and decent. And obviously each market is different, but there are some, in your experience, I know we've had some laughs over some questionable.
The classic click here, like who the hell, hello 1990, who types click here on anything? And if you see that in an ad as a consumer, you're not gonna, the hell you're gonna click on it, but if you say, we work with a lot of roofers. Free inspections are across the board, everyone offers them. You might want to come up with a different way, to a different spin on it. Maybe it's a free roofing audit, things like that. But you definitely want to let the searcher understand what you're offering them. It's not all about yourself. You need to talk about what the benefit is to them. Like, what are you offering them? Why should they click on your ad? What are you going to give them? Free, complimentary, that kind of language can really resonate with people. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you're helping them understand how you want them to move down the funnel, what you want them to do when they come to your landing page. And ideally entice them to take that action once they get there. Once they're on the landing page, you just want to continue to reiterate that same language, but it all starts with the ad. You gotta attract them to the site and then move them down the funnel. Another thing to keep in mind while you're thinking about this is, depending on the space, you could be paying like $60 for that click. So you have to be so strategic, not only with the experience that they're having in the search results, but this will be a whole nother podcast, but if you're spending that money, you've just got to be really careful with it, and you can't just throw something out there. And Google, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, no, go ahead. Well, I was thinking, listening to everything you're saying and like talking about like the importance of like the language that's used in the ad and just kind of tying it back to like this continuous scroll. So we're moving from what we had like 3 GLSA at the top, like the Google local service ads, or Google guaranteed is how a lot of contractors know them as.
Mhm.
And then we had, your traditional Google ads. So there was like maybe like 2 to 3 spaces at
Yeah.
the top,
Depending. Mhm.
and then 2 to 3 at the bottom. So, before December 2022, Google ads and Google guaranteed ads, we'll call them, for brevity's sake, they had like maybe like 5 to 7 spaces on page 1.
Yeah.
And so now, like when you were going through and looking at it, like how many spaces are on this continuous scroll? Like just trying to give the audience an idea of how much more opportunity is now there versus what we were looking at. Whereas, we know nobody clicked to page 2. Who cares if we got, an ad on page 2?
Exactly. So honestly, what I was seeing is that in most cases, right around what we would consider the top of each page, I was seeing 2 to 3 ads right there next to the Google local service ads. And then it would just kind of repeat down towards the bottom. The thing that's different, like you were saying, is previously there'd be about 3 at the top and then 2 at the bottom. So you'd have about 5 on page 1 of Google. And then that would repeat itself as you went deeper and deeper into the search results, which few people do, except for people in our industry where we're like clicking way back there. So now instead, it's more like 2 to 3 at the top, and then it just repeats. So in some ways you could look at it like there's actually less ads, there's less ads being served, but because it's continuous, and the way all of us as users anymore are so used to dealing with things even inside of social, how we're just scrollers anymore. We keep going. So even though I would arguably say it's not that I'm necessarily seeing more ad real estate, it's just people are going to see more of the ads because they're going to keep going, if that makes sense.
So, so that's interesting. So you're saying that so even though there's like 6 pages kind of on this continuous scroll with the ads, there's still the same, there's the same quantity of ads.
Well, not on page, but we're talking about, I'm saying like, if you were going to add up all the ads that were formerly page 1 through 6, you're seeing a similar amount of those ads, but it's a continuous scroll. So like you were saying, you see the ads in the Google local service ads and you see a bunch of organic and then it repeats itself. Yeah. So it's actually not even necessarily that there's more ads. It's just those ads are going to get more eyeballs on them because people are actually going to go deeper than they used to go. So you're going to see, does that make sense?
I think so. Well, so I see what you're saying. It's like, it's the same amount of ads, except for if you clicked to page 2, you would see the same quantity. And I think the way I was kind of looking at it was, all right, well, now page 1, the new page 1 has 60 results. So instead of just like 5 to 7 ads, now page 1 has, is it like 16 or 20 ads?
Yes. So yeah, if we are calling it page 1 now, because I know it's kind of difficult now because it's not what we traditionally call page 1 of Google.
I know we have to change like our whole verbiage, our whole lingo, like, hey, and people here's a pro tip. Look out for your agency. If they tell you you're on page 1 now, you could be in position 60 on page 1, but technically still page 1. So,
exactly. And another pro tip to just keep in mind, they have all kinds of different settings inside of Google Ads. But one of the things you can do is set your bidding strategy so that you can say absolute top of results. So if it's a word you really want to dominate, especially the way they're shuffling the deck right now, like you can go in there and set it that way. So, I mean, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it, but if you want to be up there, it's a great way to play the game and make sure that you're getting that visibility that otherwise, there's a lot of competition for it. And there's like you said, there's a lot of ads. You keep scrolling, but if you want to be right there towards the top.
Yeah. So, and I know we haven't talked about this yet, but just kind of as we're like talking through this, I know when we looked at it, we saw like a lot of those Google local service ads, GLSA. I keep saying the full acronym because I don't want to lose anyone with like this industry jargon, but when we looked through it, we saw it was like the same 3 companies over and over and over again. And we were doing a search outside of either of our markets, for, Amanda sits in Phoenix, I sit in Denver, and we were looking at a contractor in San Antonio. So when we were looking, we weren't being served 3 different GLSA ads on that continuous scroll, it seemed to be the same 3 companies in different orders, which is unique. So it's kind of different. You'd expect to see like, maybe 3 different companies, or at least, or sorry, not 3 different companies, but way more than just the same 3 companies over and over again.
Exactly. And I would, from a user perspective, I would prefer to see a wider cross section of the different service providers in my market, but it seems like that's what Google's doing right now. And they've always done a lot of favoritism. They favor the advertisers that hit all their quality scores and have deep pockets and spend the money. So it's just interesting to keep in mind that the GLSA game in anyone's given market could change a little bit as a result of this. And if you are seeing that your ads that your calls are really reducing, that could be the result of it. And you can always go in and make tweaks to your profile and do things to improve it. But at the end of the day, Google kind of sets the rules of the game and we all play it. So
yeah, and it's only, but today is exactly 30 days, I think, since they rolled it out. So I guess we're going to learn more over time. And so we only have like kind of 30 days of data for people to look at their GLSA in December, no less. So it's like the data there, is probably not. Yeah. So, so I guess it's just something like I love picking your brain on this because I am so that it's
your wheelhouse. But yeah,
it's not my wheelhouse.
I'm talk about your wheelhouse. Let's talk about that for a minute.
We're gonna turn that channel, but just like for any contractors listening, and maybe as they're sitting there, they're hearing this information, they're like, oh, this is really good to know. And now maybe Google Ads is going to be more of a game changer for me. Like, what do you think? What's something that you would look at, in your experience as like a signal if they're looking at the back end of GLSA, or, their Google Ads, whichever one they may have been running, our clients. And I think a lot of contractors are probably in that GLSA or Google guaranteed ads. What would you take as you're analyzing? What would you notice as like a trigger to maybe make some changes in, your paid media mix and where you're investing in GLSA versus Google Ads?
Yeah, no, great question. You should be in marketing.
Yeah, maybe.
So, if you are someone who's been investing really heavily in GLSA, and you suddenly see the calls start to fall off, which we are speaking to people in a lot of markets that are experiencing this, it's probably time to revisit traditional Google Ads. And if you've been running Google Ads for a long time and you haven't really tapped your toe in the water of GLSA, test it out. Depending on your market, we do still have some clients that are getting a ton of phone calls from it. So I would say, if you haven't tested it, test it. Take advantage of Google local service ads as long as you can get the volume. But then if you really need to increase that volume, the phone's not ringing as much as you feel like there's opportunity left on the table. Maybe your SEO hasn't really caught up yet. It's time to revisit those higher cost clicks in Google Ads. Just a little bit of backstory here. The reason we've really encouraged a lot of our clients to go the GLSA route over the last couple of years is in most markets, we're seeing them get a call for like $56. I mean, an actual client on the phone asking for a roof inspection or, wanting to schedule a consultation of one sort or the other, versus we're paying in some cases $70 for a click in Google Ads. And that's just driving someone to your website. And certainly doesn't mean they're going to convert. A healthy conversion rate would be 10%. So you're talking like $700 right there to get that one person to complete the lead form or call you or do whatever it is you're trying to get them, whatever, action you're trying to get them to take. And then you still have to close them. It doesn't mean that every time someone fills out a form on your website that they're automatically a client. So there's a lot to keep in mind here. It can get really expensive, but we also see a lot of times when we're looking at our reporting from an SEO standpoint or from, direct traffic, if we are spending a lot in a local market, we're running a lot of ads, there's a lot of impressions out there, people are seeing the brand name, it can have a positive impact across the board with all of their marketing efforts. So it is, you do have to have a little bit of a stomach for it. Sometimes if your cost per acquisition is a little high in your ads, it doesn't mean that it's not helping elsewhere. And you have to remember that brand recognition is valuable in itself. Sorry, that was a diatribe, guys, but it's just a really important thing to keep in mind when you're running ads, because we talk to people all the time that like their ad budget is a huge part of what's keeping their, like they're taking it away from other parts of their business, and they want to make sure if we're going to reinvest this here instead of maybe having another admin in the office or something for that amount of money, like what are we getting at? So,
Yeah, it is. No, it's really important that your ad spend is actually going somewhere. So I think it's really good to have, an expert's insight and kind of, what to look for with this continuous scroll and how it's really going to impact what it's really shaking up what we've traditionally done on search marketing, right? So yeah, so really, really great info. So yes, we know it is definitely going to shake up what we're doing for our clients on the search engine marketing front, Google Ads, Google Local Service Ads, all those acronyms or all those nicknames. But also, so now kind of changing channels a little bit, but we're still talking about Google's new continuous scroll and how that affects now organic positioning and search engine optimization and kind of what we are expecting to see. And again, we're just 30 days out from this. And so what we're expecting to see is kind of more of a shift. Content has been important for SEO for a long time and yeah, forever. And I think a lot of contractors, it's been beaten into their heads, like you have to do SEO. Well, now at this point, what's kind of cool is I think a lot of us, like as a user, like myself included, right? If I Google something, I know that there's just ads and maps results and people also ask. And so I'm scrolling until I get to the actual organic results for if I'm trying to learn information. If it's something more transactional, like I need, a landscaper or an HVAC guy, I probably am looking at that map pack results, which is gold for contractors. But that's that falls into the local SEO realm. And so what we're kind of focused on with this continuous scroll is its impact on those organic results, which fall beneath the map pack. So with those results, so I, as a user, I scroll down, I scroll past the ads, and then I get to the meat of it. And so kind of with continuous scroll, now I get to do that. And I am looking at stuff that's probably on, it was previously on page 2 or 3. But what's also interesting here is that, especially in the home services niche, what we see a lot for those like primary keywords, like, if you do like landscaper Denver or something like that, and it's tied together, you're going to see those aggregate results at the top. You're going to see Yelp's top 10 landscapers in Denver, or Angie's List top 10 landscapers in Denver. Now it's just, we'll be able to kind of scroll past those and get to the actual service providers and look at their actual results on the search engine page. And so what this is kind of all pointing towards is content again, right? And content marketing. And so now, because a person can continuously scroll and they're not going to click to page 2 or refine their search, I think that people are going to stick to their original search. And so we have to have catchier headlines, right? Catchier SEO titles, catchier meta descriptions. This is the thing that you're going to have to, I think, have your SEO company constantly playing with, right? Is just getting that catchier title, because you might be getting an impression and being served up, but if you're not getting that click, the only thing you can control is that title and that meta description. Mm-hmm. So, whatever that might be, like, in your content, again, you've got to be targeting people at the top of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, because you don't know what they're looking for. And now that they can just keep scrolling instead of refining their search.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the stigma's gone with page 2. I love it.
Yeah. It's just completely changed. So instead of like having one keyword phrase that you're targeting, and Google's AI has changed where you don't have to have an exact phrase match, right? Like their artificial intelligence understands or thinks it understands the user's intent. So knowing that, you have to shape your content around now how the user is going to start using Google. So it's, realistically, you should be writing content for the people also ask section, because there's going to be users who don't scroll past that. PAA is what we call it. It's the people also ask, right? We've seen those little carrots with the drop down. You get your answer immediately. But, all of this kind of factors into the user's intent in the search phrase. And so it's so early on that we're not sure what the impact is quite yet, but we know how we interact with the search engine results page, and we know how we operate as users. And so I think content becomes more important again. I think video is going to be huge, because those, depending on the search phrase, there might be real estate right there at the very top of Google for video or images only. So, that's going to play a more important role. I think each year we talk about how video is more and more important. And, each year it's one of those things, like some contractors hop on board and we can get tons of footage from them right away. And then others and then others it's like pulling teeth. But this update is just yet another reason to really focus on how you can differentiate yourself. And if video is the way that you can stick to the top of this long continuous scroll, great. If you can write content that answers those people also ask queries, great. And then if you can have like a really meaty headline within this like one continuous scroll, something that really captures the attention, kind of meets the user's intent for their search query in an interesting way where, they don't feel like they're going to get lost in whatever the content is. Like, I never click on those aggregate things because I don't trust Yelp and I don't trust Angie's List. And to me, it's just people paying to be there. Absolutely. versus like someone who took the time to, I don't know, to try to help me solve the problem.
100%. And even when it comes to that kind of stuff, if it says the top 10 contractors in your local market, I'm going to go look in the 3-pack. I'm going to expand that and base it on actual user reviews before I'm going to, look at something on Angie's List. So,
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've had it on mobile for over a year now, but throwing it out there on desktop where, like there's one thing to have like a leak and you need an emergency plumber, and you're going to do that on your phone immediately and you're going to pull it up. But if you want your kitchen remodeled, you're going to kind of vet out a contractor a bit more. You're going to want to look at more pictures. You're going to want to look at video. You're going to want to hear proof of, their craftsmanship and what their customer service is like and how long have they been there. You're going to vet them out a little bit more than like, oh shoot, I'm at the bottom of the funnel. I need somebody right now to fix this problem. So, so shaping, your content marketing and your SEO around this new experience is going to be a must do for 2023.
Yeah. And that also makes me think, will you speak a little bit about, what we've been noticing recently where we're delineating exactly what we want our meta titles to be served as and the descriptions. And then in some cases, even when we think that they're totally dialed in, Google's just going rogue and serving something differently.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. Hopefully we haven't lost you guys if you're still listening here. Amanda and I, we are so passionate about what we do that sometimes we feel like we're giving people an MBA in marketing, but we firmly believe in, educating our clients and any contractor out there, because education is key, right? If you know what you're looking at or what you should be looking for, you can grow your business and you don't get taken advantage of. So anyways, what Amanda is referring to is, on that search engine result page on the back end of your website, we are able to tell Google, this is the title that I want, and this is the description that I want. However, Google in recent years is like, cool. Nah, I'm going to take this bit right here from this part of the page. And it could be the middle of a paragraph at the bottom of your homepage. And it's going to decide that that's the description that they think the user needs to see. So as an agency, what we do is we're continuously looking and kind of doing the manual legwork to see what Google is actually serving up for our clients as an SEO title, or the title that appears on the Google page and the description that appears on the Google page. And if it's pulling from content versus the meta description is what it's called. If it's pulling from a piece of content on the page versus what we're telling it we want to pull from, then we refine that piece of copy so that it can be more captivating and really speak to, what we hope is the user's intent in finding our client. Typically, it's a service plus location kind of phrase that we'd like lumped in there. And so it's just something that your SEO company should be staying on top of. You can manually look at this and say, hey, when I search for plumber Phoenix, my company pops up, but I don't know, the description isn't very
Not
like,
loving it. Yeah. It's
yeah,
just
not loving it. Or
something to keep track of, and knowing that with continuous scroll, it's more important than ever to stand out. That's just a really great, easy thing as a business owner that you can kind of keep track of without even needing expensive, fancy tools. And, just make sure that you feel like it's compelling enough that you're gonna capture some of that traffic amongst all the noise and continuous scroll.
Yeah, a great example is we had a roofing client, and we had optimized their title, and we had optimized their description to say, we're San Antonio's favorite roofing company, blah, 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 blah. But what was showing was Johnny Smith started in construction in 2008. We're like, what? So it was pulling from like the about section about the owner from the homepage. And so we were on top of it. So we were able to kind of update and refine it. But that's a great example of how that's not going to align with someone who's looking for, service plus location. Hearing somebody's history in construction on the homepage isn't exactly going to garner a click. So that's just a great tool you can take home and look at today. Go ahead and Google yourself. And when you Google yourself, or you Google a service plus the city you're in or the location you want to serve in, and your company pops up, does it say what you want it to say? And is it strong enough to get people to actually click through? We could go on and on. We love search. We love this stuff. But we won't. So the takeaway today is continuous scroll. Make sure that your company appears the way you want it to appear, that it's catchy, that you're kind of packing a punch, telling the customer what they're going to get if they choose to click through to your site. And ads. Amanda, what's the ads takeaway for this new Google continuous scroll?
The ads takeaway is to dig in, look at your current metrics, see if they've changed over the last 30 days, and really watch them closely through this first quarter. Because, like we were alluding to earlier, it was just the holidays. So things were probably a little weird anyway with your metrics, but really pay attention in the next quarter to see, compare them year over year. And if you feel like you really lost some market share, it's time to explore one of Google's other advertising products, because let's be real, Google loves Google, and they're always giving you a new way to spend money with them. So just keep a close eye so you're not surprised this time next year that all of your advertising impressions fell off. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
That was today's trade secret. Thanks for listening.
Did you find this helpful? We're just getting started.
Subscribe and don't miss our next reveal.
Until next time.